Laravel Restify. Who I am? I'm Marius. I'm a software developer since 2020. I'm an husband and father of a child and half. This means that basically my wife next Friday will do a deployment. So I know that you are all developers and you are scary about the on Friday, but we need to trust the process. And also today it's my birthday. I'm getting older. Yeah. But yes, like the wine, I'm getting every year better and better. Currently, I'm working for Figurit AG, and we are building softwares to optimize processes for our customers. This means that we are able to identify their sales, and this means for our customers they are able to reduce the costs. Okay, for example, this is our software, and basically Laravel Nova. Maybe someone of you already used Laravel Nova? Okay, once, two, three. Okay, and how many of you use Filament? Okay, you like the free code. Nice. We paid for Laravel Nova, and actually is working really cool, but not for our software, because our software was getting bigger and bigger with a lot of features, but not only. Our database was every day growing. We also had multi-tenancy and a lot of features. And Laravel Nova is good for some little admin dashboards, but not for our software. So basically, we decided to decoupling the backend from the front end and build from scratch our API. We start from scratch, as I said, but then we realized that there are so many stuff that we need to do, and we don't have the resource to do. So we looked around and we find out this Laravel package is a library, and is Laravel Restify. And basically you can create JSON APIs with JSON API standard in Laravel, and also this Laravel Restify was inspired by Laravel Nova. What this means? That basically if you are coming from Laravel Nova, it will be really easy to migrate your application to just an API. Of course, if you have another application, or if you want to start API from scratch, you can use Restify because you have a lot of features built in. Okay, for example, here is a little bit of code. As you can see, who already developed in Laravel Nova, you can see how fields are made. For example, in Filament, just to let you understand, in Filament you have columns and fields. In Laravel Nova you have only fields, but you declare your columns in the index, in the edit, and of course your fields in the edit, and create forms. And basically this is what you have to write in Restify. That is quite more or less the same. For example, here you can see sortable, filterable, and searchable. For this, you have this sort and search that you also retrieve in Nova. Okay, so it's really similar. Okay, I have quite a demo, let's say. Okay, so first of all, I want, sorry. Correct. So There is online a tutorial, so if you want to have a complete tutorial about Restify, you can just go in their official website, and at the bottom of the introduction, you have the link for the full course. And what basically you have with Restify, and why you should use Restify? Because first of all, you have out of the box the CRUD operations, okay, and you have search, repository search, filters, sorting. Basically, what you had in Laravel Nova or Filament, you will have also in this API. Of course, you have the permissions. You can every field. You can define every permission for every field, and I will have some example for you. And it is important that you also have all the bulk operation. So create, update in bulk. That is okay, because if you start really from scratch to implement all of this stuff, will require some time. I don't know how many of you created some APIs from scratch without any libraries, nothing. Okay. And you know the pain that there is behind. With this library, I find out that it was really easy for us as a company to decoupling our backend from the front end. And also you have a lot of flexibility on the front end. Basically, as was inspired by Nova, so basically you can see that all of these commands are pretty similar with Laravel Nova. And what is a resource in Laravel Nova? It is a repository in Restify. And of course is pointing to a model and is returning the fields. Okay. And this is what you get by creating a repository. So you get all of these, the index, display the actions that are pretty much the same actions that you use in Filament or Nova, edit, delete, but also your own actions. So every custom actions. And of course you have the show, the store multiple, delete, and whatever, destroy. And like, I know that is nothing really interesting, this part, because it's a simply CRUD that everyone in this room can made. But what is important is that you have this just downloading this package. And of course, as I said, for example, into the authorizations, you can, for every field, now for every CRUD operation, to define your policies. But I have here an example in the code. For example, in the user repository, we can see you basically define the authorization for this repository. Okay, that said, let's see a little bit how it works. At the final, I will have a surprise for you, let's say. Okay. These are basically is Postman. Do you read, or I need to change to the light mode?
I think we can see it.
Okay, it's fine for you. Okay. As you can see, you have this is something that will come later. Is not included with the Restify package. But what I want to show to you is basically the JSON standard. Okay. Many of you knows the JSON API standard. Okay, many of you, because you are building APIs. As you can see, you have everything that is defined in the JSON API standard. You don't need to care about nothing, because you have everything already in place. And as I said, you have, for example, the sort, and as you can see here, we have the user ID 1, 2, etc. When we change the parameter, we will change, of course, even the sort. Is something that you have to build if you start from scratch. And this is really powerful, I think, because the front end can make everything that you want. In Laravel Nova, you sometimes had this issue that was not really customizable. And for example, when we wanted to, when we asked the index page of a big entity, this loads in a while instead in a some seconds, because we had like 20, 30 requests. With Laravel Restify, we can just request the users, like this, for example. Or if you want the relationships, you can use like roles, permissions, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, in this case, but anyway, I need just to see, yeah, for example, teams, but even the roles. As you can see, you have the teams. In this case, just for the first user, because you have, and if you need more relationships, you can load more relationships from the front end on demand, so when it is needed. And I think it is pretty useful, this kind of approach. So as you can see here, you define the relationships that I called before, the teams and the roles. In there is this moment, and basically in future you can define already on the fields that belongs to many, and all the relationships that you have. Okay, as I said, we have also a search. The search works per repository, like in this case. We will get Fabiola, or what you define. For example, now I didn't define the ID, but if I will do a global research by ID 3, I will get all the repositories that have the ID 3. The users, because it's set up only on the users. Because I'm doing, sorry, I'm doing the query on the users, but you can do the global search. You can have the global search. In this case, will return the entity that we are looking for, that was Fabiola. And if we look for the ID, we will get the permissions, number 3, the teams with the number 3, and the user with the number 3. This because are declared in the search. If you don't want to show this resource globally, repository, you should just define globally searchable to false. But yeah, everything it is in the documentation. You see, you don't see anymore our Fabiola. Yeah, as I said, you have bulk creations. So, like in this case, we have a lot of new teams. Okay, and you can just send our request, and you will seed the database with all your teams. Yeah, you need to think that I'm not showing something that is rocket science, but is something that when you don't have the budget or the time to do some stuff, you can use this that is already in place. And also I want to announce something to you tonight, because this is a kit that Restify provided to me. It is a free kit, and like the approach of Laravel to have starter kits, Restify provide an API starter kit. So if you are interested, you can scan. You can, yeah. If you are interested, you can scan this QR code, and you can request this template. The template have in place the authentication, the permission, the teams, the invitations, of course, the users, and you can create your API in just a few seconds. Yeah, these are the guy from Restify. I met them in Cluj, in Romania. And yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Are there any questions?
Thank you a lot. I think that you gave us the point of view of the dev, but there is also the point of view of the customer and the point of view of the owner of the company. And my question is, do you use a dedicated tool for every customer? Do you use a core tool? This core tool, was it made with Nova? And after that, did you decide to transform it with Restify? Did you do on a customer, for instance, or use a case, a benchmark between Nova on one side and Restify on the other side?
Yes, of course, decoupling the front end, the back end from the front end, you need to think that in the beginning we had this Laravel Nova monolith, and we had our front end, our back end, and also was, as I said, Nova was doing some requests that we didn't need. Okay, so this was slowing our software. For this reason, we decided to decoupling the backend from the front end, and basically we are the owner of our software, and basically don't change nothing for the customers. The customers can only benefit from this change because now our software is more performant than was before.
How much?
I cannot quantify because I didn't make any metrics by me, but my colleagues made some metrics. I don't have the numbers right now, but I can assume at least at 30% more speed in our requests, in all of our requests.
Because I suppose we are lots in this room who have begun with Nova, and as Nova has limitations, a lack of freedom. I suppose that most of us has gone to Filament, and Filament is much easier to adapt to our needs. So what is interesting, is it interesting for us to go to RESTful and Restify and to learn it and to implement it in our new projects? And for that, a bit of benchmark would be a very interesting thing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Let's say that it's really important to understand that depends on the software, because, and also on the budget and the time that have the company to spend in a project, because it's always the best to have a back end and a front end separate that communicates with an API. But if you don't have, so I mean for the performance, so the speed of your backend, because if you are doing the server-side rendering on your backend, you understand that is not the best in terms of performances. And the coupling, your application, you will always get some performance in Plus, but you need to understand that is some extra work. It's not like Filament that you create the repository, you have the front end and you have the back end. Now I showed you like just how is working the API, how is working the back end. Another developer needs to integrate the API into a front end. That also this front end must be performative like the back end.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Another question? Nobody. Dan, I think a big round of applause for Marius.
Thank you.